We're going to look at the access play in this clip. Remember again, a good attacking play should have 4 options. This access play is from a left scrum or from a line-out drive. I'm going to have a look firstly at the access 1 option. It's one of my favorite plays, and I've run it for a couple of years. And I first started running this play when I was coaching at St Andrews. So some of the examples I have for these access plays are some from St Andrews, and then some others we'll have a look at the Grey Fursey from 2018 and 2017. So let's have a look at some of these examples quickly. The first thing to understand, guys, is when you run the access play, it's very important that 9 must fix the fly, and you'll see what spaces we create. So initially as a coach, when we coach this, we'd also have a look at predetermining the call. So you'd say access 1 and then look at hitting 12 through. Access 2, look at playing back inside to the wing. But as a team progresses, you actually just want to call access play and let the creators, when that role shifts on, make the decisions for you. So that's ultimately where the actual play needs to head. But initially, breaking it up as an access 1, 2, or 3, or 4, and then being able to then predetermine what you guys are trying to achieve in that attacking play makes it a lot easier initially. But ultimately, you want to get to a point where it's a fluid movement, and whatever the creator and decision that they make is the spaces that we can attack. So let's have a look at an access 1 quickly. It's an example from the St Andrews College first team from a couple of years ago. Let's have a look at that. So you can see here, the 8 must just check the flanks. So he's the starter here. So all he has to do is just, everyone gets the timing off of the 8. The flanks get checked. What 9's role is to draw their fly. So he needs to get out and run a line where he actually creates interest with that 10. So he can love him and leave him, actually eyeball him and get eye contact to try and draw that fly onto him. And then just outside the picture, you can see the inside center running that unders line, and you can see the fly didn't even see him coming because the fly was worried about the 9 because the 9 had come out towards him. Okay, so that's a nice little example of an access 1. The access 2, if we have a look at that quickly, yeah, we're shifting on the role of the creator here, where 9 is no longer the creator because he's actually played the fly. So you can see he's played onto 10 behind 12, and then the 10 now becomes the creator, and he's made that pass back inside to the blind side winger coming into the line. So that's the example of an access 2. If we have a look at 12 creating the hole for 9, you can see here how the same plays run, and the 12 running the line that he runs draws the fly, and if the fly gets drawn onto the 12, like what happens here, you can see the unders line that the inside center is running. 9 is checking to make the pass. Their fly goes straight onto 12, and it opens the hole for 9 to go straight through, untouched. Yeah, and obviously Ronaldo Pedro does phenomenally there to beat that last defender and score that try. So that's an example of running an access 1, but the space opens up for 9. Remember, 9 is the creator, so he gets to see what space to attack there on that play. And here's another nice example here where 12 creates the interest there with drawing the fly. And you can see how 9 also gets through this gap as well. Let's have a look. Okay, so you can again see how 10 is the decoy. We've got 11 running his shape on the inside. So ultimately, you want to be able to run this play and just make a decision based on where the spaces open up. Okay, and you can see what happens here. 12 is running an unders line, draws their fly, creates the interest, and 9 is able to go straight through. Right, so that's an example of creating the hole for the 9 to come through. Guys, it's really a good play, particularly at the beginning of a season. It's a nice play to run because you can also double up. One play can be used to belt attack from that line-out drive again. Remember why it's important to have some sort of attacking play off a line-out drive is because all your forwards are sucked in. And if you simply just try and play once that line-out drive stops and it becomes static defense, It's very hard ball for the backs to use. So it's nice to actually run a little bit of a shape and to run a play like this off a line-out drive as well. So that's why it's one of my favorite plays.